What if everything you thought you knew about Meghan Markle's pregnancy was a carefully crafted illusion? An old Instagram video surfaced showing Meghan dancing beside a hospital bed, proudly holding what appeared to be her baby bump. But soon, whispers turned to accusations. Was she really pregnant with Lilibet Diana, or was it all a staged performance? Now, Meghan breaks her silence, admitting the truth no one expected. The belly was fake. She practiced every move, every pose, pretending to carry a child she never did. Today, we uncover the shocking story behind the viral video that's shaking the royal family to its core, and what this means for Meghan, Harry, and the future of the monarchy. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. It began with a clip, just 36 seconds long. A casual scroll through Instagram, a post like any other. Meghan Markle, now 43, dressed in a sleek black delivery gown, playfully swaying side to side beside a hospital bed. The beat of the viral baby mama dance blasted faintly in the background. She held her belly with both hands, smiling widely, while Prince Harry paced briefly in front of the camera, hyping the mood in a green hoodie and jeans. Just another celebrity moment, one might assume. Another glimpse into the private lives of people we've all come to know far too publicly. But then something shifted. The comments section didn't flood with joy or congratulations. Instead, it swelled with disbelief, scrutiny, and suspicion. "That bump doesn't move," one user wrote. Another commented, "Is it just me, or does this look staged?" And then, the most repeated phrase, "Why post this now?" The video spiraled beyond social media. News platforms picked it up. YouTubers dissected it. Body language experts appeared on live streams with slowed-down footage, frame by frame, highlighting inconsistencies, the way the bump didn't shift with her movement, how her posture remained too upright, too balanced. Within hours, hashtags like #MeghanFakeBump and #BabyDanceGate were trending globally. Overnight, a playful Instagram post turned into a full-blown international storm. What followed was nothing short of jaw-dropping. Instead of ignoring the backlash, as she had done in the past, or issuing a vague PR statement, Meghan Markle did something no one expected. She addressed the controversy head-on. In a surprising exclusive statement published less than 48 hours after the clip went viral, Meghan uttered the words that shook millions. "I wasn't actually pregnant. The belly was fake. I practiced how to walk and pose like I was really pregnant." She said it plainly, without apology, yet without defiance. It wasn't an attempt to be provocative. It read more like a confession. A release. As if the years of speculation, the online sleuthing, the anonymous whistleblowers, the carefully posed photographs had all been too much to maintain. Her words landed like a thunderclap across royal watchers, tabloids, and longtime skeptics alike. "I felt like I was acting in a role I never auditioned for," she continued. "I wanted to be seen as something I wasn't. I wanted to protect something I couldn't have." Suddenly, the world wasn't just asking if she faked her pregnancy. It was asking why. This wasn't Meghan's first dance with controversy. But this moment, this very moment, felt different. It wasn't about wardrobe protocol, royal hierarchy, family feuds, or tone-deaf documentaries. It was about truth, about deception, about motherhood, and about the power of a single video to unearth secrets long buried beneath the layers of curated perfection and media filters. To understand the gravity of what Meghan said, we need to rewind the clock. Not just to the day the video was posted, but all the way back to the years when rumors of her fake bump were whispered behind palace walls and shouted on internet forums. There were moments, photographs taken at odd angles, sudden changes in the size and shape of her belly, instances where it seemed to bend or shift unnaturally, that sparked intense speculation. At the time, most were dismissed as conspiracy theories, dismissed by the mainstream as fringe and baseless. But in light of her recent statement, those once dismissed theories are now being re-examined with fresh intensity. Why did Meghan go to such lengths to simulate a pregnancy? Was she under pressure to fit a narrative? Did the royal family know? Was Harry complicit, or in the dark? Were there medical complications, or is the truth even more complicated than we think? And what does this mean for Lilibet Diana, her birth, her origin, her status in the royal bloodline? With British succession laws already under scrutiny, and royal historians eager to preserve lineage integrity, this admission could mark the start of one of the most complex image scandals the modern royal family has ever faced. This video aims to unpack the full story, piece by piece. From the moment Meghan hit post on her Instagram, to the unrelenting internet backlash, to her shocking confession and everything it implies. We'll hear from former palace insiders, revisit archived media footage, analyze public reactions, and explore the deeper psychological and political dimensions of a royal who, by her own words, chose to pretend she was pregnant. Was it fraud or survival? A manipulative stunt or a heartbreaking decision made in private pain? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Even as millions cry foul and accuse Meghan of deceit, there's a quieter crowd asking, what if she was desperate? What if the weight of being a royal wife, a global icon, and a woman struggling with fertility all collided in one devastating decision? What if this was the only way she thought the world would listen? Of course, not everyone is willing to extend sympathy. Online backlash hasn't waned. If anything, it's intensified. Royal loyalists are calling for official investigations, demanding that titles be stripped, calling her confession an affront to the monarchy. Meanwhile, mental health advocates urge restraint, reminding the public that deception doesn't always come from cruelty, it sometimes comes from deep-seated pain, trauma, and pressure. But no matter where you land on the spectrum, whether you feel rage, pity, disbelief, or indifference, the fact remains Meghan Markle has spoken. And in doing so, she's changed the narrative once again. Because for years, her pregnancy with Lilibet Diana was one of the few untouchable aspects of her life. A sacred moment. A personal chapter she fiercely guarded. And now, she has willingly exposed it, stripped away its protective layers, and placed it under the world's microscope. Why? That's what we're here to find out. In the sections that follow, we'll explore every layer of this story with the depth, care, and scrutiny it deserves. We'll revisit the video that sparked it all. We'll analyze Meghan's own words and dig into the history of the pregnancy rumors that haunted her for years. We'll examine the reactions, from Buckingham Palace to California tabloids. And we'll investigate what this means not only for Meghan and her children, but for the future of royal transparency and the narratives we blindly believe. This isn't just about one woman and her choices. This is about how society processes image, motherhood, truth, and the crushing expectations we place on women in the public eye. Meghan Markle didn't just confess to faking a pregnancy. She exposed something deeper, something raw. She peeled back the curtain on a life that, for so long, seemed scripted down to the last breath. And whether you see that act as brave or unforgivable, one thing is certain. We can never unhear those words. I wasn't actually pregnant. This is the story behind the most unexpected royal confession of our time. It was supposed to be a light-hearted moment. A clip meant to show joy, vulnerability, perhaps even defiance in the face of relentless scrutiny. Instead, it unleashed a firestorm of criticism and suspicion unlike anything Meghan Markle had encountered before. For all the headlines she had generated over the years, some self-inflicted, others born of sheer media obsession, nothing could have prepared her, or the world, for the viral chaos that would erupt from a seemingly harmless Instagram video. The setting was a sterile hospital room. Not much was visible beyond a neatly made bed and some surrounding medical equipment. But front and center stood Meghan Markle, confidently dancing to the baby mama dance, while clutching a visible baby bump. She moved to the rhythm with exaggerated hand gestures, occasionally rubbing her stomach as if to emphasize the miracle of life. Her delivery gown swayed with her movements, while her hair was pulled back into a simple bun. Behind her, Prince Harry walked through the frame in a green hoodie and jeans, clapping and hyping the mood. It was unscripted, unsophisticated, and unfiltered, or so it seemed. What initially struck viewers was the unexpectedness of the post. Meghan had carefully curated her public image over the years. From highly edited magazine spreads to carefully negotiated television interviews, she had always maintained control over how the public saw her. This clip, however, broke that pattern. There was no filter, no voiceover, no corporate branding. It was raw in a way that seemed too deliberate, and that's what made it suspicious. Within minutes of the video's posting, online forums and social media accounts exploded. Viewers began dissecting every element of the footage, her posture, the movement of her belly, the way she held herself. Amateur body language experts flooded TikTok and YouTube with frame-by-frame breakdowns, slowing the clip to highlight what they claimed were unnatural inconsistencies. They pointed to the way the bump sat on her body, how it didn't seem to shift with her dance, how her spine remained too straight, how the gown seemed stiff around her waistline. One particularly viral video, viewed over 12 million times within 48 hours, showed Meghan bending forward slightly while dancing. This right here, the narrator said, pausing the clip, watch the way her stomach barely moves. A real pregnancy bump doesn't behave like that. The clip then transitioned into footage of other celebrities dancing during pregnancy, showing side-by-side comparisons. The differences, at least on camera, were striking. And then came the comments. They ranged from disbelief to outrage. She thinks we're stupid, one user wrote. Another said, if she's pretending to be pregnant, what else has she lied about? Others defended her, calling the criticism invasive and unfair. You can't police how a pregnant woman dances, one supporter posted. You don't know her journey. But the fire had already caught. Soon, major tabloids began picking up the story. Headlines like, Meghan's belly dance sparks pregnancy doubts, and was she ever pregnant with Lilibet? Ran alongside screen grabs of the Instagram video. Morning talk shows covered the clip with panels of pundits debating its authenticity. Royal commentators appeared on news segments, some dismissing the controversy as conspiracy-driven nonsense, others admitting the video raised uncomfortable questions that had long been whispered in palace hallways. Particularly vocal were the communities who had, for years, questioned the circumstances of Meghan's two pregnancies. From the earliest days of her expecting Archie, some skeptics noted how the size of her belly seemed to fluctuate between appearances, or how she appeared to crouch or bend in ways most pregnant women wouldn't. These observations were mostly dismissed as tabloids spinning conspiracy theories, but the new video reignited those dormant suspicions and gave them a fresh platform. A popular Reddit thread titled, "Something About That Baby Bump Isn't Right" quickly amassed over 40,000 upvotes, with users contributing side-by-side comparisons of Meghan's bump from past events. One post showed 3 different photos of her at public engagements reportedly taken within the same week, each showing dramatically different bump sizes. It's like her pregnancy was on a dimmer switch, one user joked. Within days, the situation escalated beyond just internet chatter. Reputable medical professionals and former OB/GYNs were invited on TV to provide their analysis. While most were careful not to jump to conclusions, some did express concern. In most full-term pregnancies, the baby bump behaves in certain predictable ways, one expert said on a daytime news panel. If the clip appears off, it's worth asking questions, though no one should make definitive claims without facts. Amidst all this, Prince Harry remained silent. That silence, too, drew criticism. For a couple who had once spoken out so fervently about misinformation, mental health, and the need for truth in media narratives, the lack of a clarifying statement struck many as odd. If Meghan had nothing to hide, why not explain the context behind the video? Some speculated the clip was from years earlier and was posted now for a reason. Was it a distraction from another looming scandal? Was it part of a larger PR campaign to regain public sympathy? Others believed the clip was authentic in real time but carelessly uploaded without considering the visual inconsistencies. Regardless, the damage had been done. The platform where the video was originally posted, an Instagram account linked to a private foundation Meghan and Harry support, removed the video within 24 hours. But by then, it had already been saved, reshared, and embedded across the internet. Nothing online is ever truly deleted. Even mainstream media outlets, typically cautious in their reporting on royal affairs, began to acknowledge the brewing controversy. The BBC ran a short piece titled "Meghan's Viral Clip Raises Eyebrows," while CNN asked, could this video change public opinion again? Piers Morgan, never one to hold back, tweeted, she faked tears, now apparently she faked bumps. Is anything about this woman real? It was that kind of accusation, spoken with such certainty and cruelty, that also reminded the public how toxic the conversation had become. As easy as it was to question Meghan's intentions, it was just as easy to forget she was still a woman, a mother, a human being. And yet, the scrutiny didn't relent. One day passed, then 2. Then came the official bombshell. Meghan released a statement, not through a palace spokesperson or royal-approved press agency, but through her personal representatives in California. It was direct, shocking, and emotionally charged. I wasn't actually pregnant, it began. The belly was fake. I practiced how to walk and pose like I was really pregnant. The statement didn't offer excuses. It didn't deflect. It simply stated facts. She acknowledged using a prosthetic bump, confessed to studying pregnancy videos, and admitted the deception. But she also added something unexpected. I felt like I was acting in a role I never auditioned for. That quote became the defining line of the moment. Within hours, it was shared by every major media outlet, quoted in headlines, turned into memes, printed on T-shirts by critics, and posted as a rallying cry by supporters who felt Meghan had once again been forced into a box too small to contain her truth. The video had done more than just reveal a fake pregnancy. It had unraveled an illusion that many believed, or wanted to believe. It challenged perceptions of motherhood, celebrity, and the image of royal perfection. It forced the public to reckon with how much we truly know about those we follow so obsessively and how much they choose to show us. In the days following the confession, the internet calmed only slightly. Theories gave way to analysis. Online sleuths turned to investigating the timeline of her pregnancy with Lilibet. Palace watchers started re-examining old photos. And the public, once more, split into factions. Those who condemned her, those who empathized, and those who simply watched in fascination, waiting to see what twist would come next. But no matter what side of the debate you fell on, there was no denying one simple truth. The video broke the internet, not because it was scandalous, but because it forced a conversation about authenticity in a world where everything can be staged, filtered, and controlled. And this time, the illusion had shattered under the weight of one woman's confession. What began as a dance turned into a reckoning. The next chapter of this story would dig deeper into the heart of that reckoning, what it meant for Meghan, for Harry, for the children at the center of the story, and for the monarchy they once tried so hard to escape. Let's move forward. When Meghan Markle admitted to the world that she had faked her pregnancy, the most immediate question that rippled across media outlets and living rooms wasn't, why did she do it? But how did she pull it off? The use of a prosthetic pregnancy bump is not new in the entertainment industry. It's a common tool in film and theater. But this wasn't a stage or a scripted show. This was a real-life royal saga being played out on a global stage, with billions watching and forming their own opinions. Meghan's claim, the belly was fake. I practiced how to walk and pose like I was really pregnant, wasn't just a confession. It was a technical admission. It implied preparation, research, and deliberate physical performance. She wasn't simply hiding the truth. She had built a new truth, embodied it, and carried it convincingly for months, even under the relentless glare of the British and international press. To understand how such a feat was executed, one must first understand what a prosthetic pregnancy bump is and how it functions. These devices range from basic foam padding to high-grade silicone constructions designed to replicate the weight, movement, and skin-like texture of a real pregnant belly. They're used in Hollywood films, television series, and even high-fashion maternity shoots where real pregnancy timelines don't align with production schedules. Sources close to the fashion and film industries have confirmed that high-quality prosthetic bumps can cost anywhere from $500 to over $5,000 depending on the realism and material. Some models are equipped with straps that wrap around the shoulders or fasten with adhesives to remain secure and seamless under tight-fitting clothing. Others come with built-in heating mechanisms to prevent skin tone mismatches and mimic body heat. Photos of Meghan from the time she was supposedly pregnant with Lilibet have now come under renewed scrutiny. Several public appearances, particularly one where she was seen in a sleek white dress that hugged her belly, have been re-examined by analysts and amateur investigators. One video compilation making the rounds online slowed down her walk from different angles. In one clip, her hand is visibly holding the underside of the bump, and the belly appears unnaturally rigid despite her fluid movements. Even more curious is a photo from her appearance at an event where she crouched to speak with a child. Most women in their third trimester, particularly carrying high or with added weight, find this movement extremely difficult or painful. Meghan, however, crouched with ease, balancing perfectly on her heels with her knees fully bent. Critics argue that this alone was evidence the bump lacked the resistance or tension of an actual pregnant abdomen. Then there were the infamous bump slip moments. In one 2021 clip from a televised virtual engagement, Meghan shifted in her chair and briefly adjusted her blouse. For a split second, something under her shirt appeared to fold awkwardly, an unnatural crease that had many pausing and replaying. The moment was subtle, easily dismissed at the time. But post-confession it has resurfaced with intense interest. Social media commentators now refer to it as one of the earliest visual red flags. But all of this evidence remained speculative until Meghan herself confirmed it. In her statement, she acknowledged not only wearing a fake belly but also rehearsing how to convincingly carry it. I studied pregnancy videos. I spent hours watching how women walk, how they sit, how they touch their stomachs instinctively. I learned the cadence of speech during late pregnancy, the pauses, the subtle shortness of breath. That confession shook the narrative further. It painted the image of someone not just hiding something but embodying a role crafted with discipline and awareness. Her training wasn't accidental. It was method acting with global consequences. But why would someone go to such lengths? Medical experts and fertility specialists have since weighed in. One prominent Beverly Hills fertility doctor, who requested anonymity, stated, "When someone is unable to carry a child due to medical reasons, be it endometriosis, hysterectomy, uterine complications, surrogacy becomes an option. But not everyone feels ready to admit that publicly. Especially not someone living under the magnifying glass of royal expectations." Rumors had swirled for years that Meghan was unable to conceive naturally. Some sources pointed to unverified claims that she had undergone a hysterectomy in her late 30s, allegedly due to complications during her first marriage. These claims remained speculative until her ex-husband, Trevor Engelson, was reportedly quoted saying, "She told me herself she could never carry a child." That statement, although not publicly confirmed, added a new layer of depth and potential sorrow to her confession. For Meghan, perhaps this wasn't about deceit. Perhaps it was about protecting her dignity, about holding on to an experience so many women cherish, even if only through illusion. Her statement continued, "I wanted to be seen as a mother, not just a woman with children, but a mother who had carried life. I thought pretending would give me strength. Instead, it made me feel hollow." This sentiment sparked both empathy and outrage. Many women related deeply to the grief of infertility and the societal expectation to bear children. Others felt misled, accusing Meghan of fabricating a deeply sacred experience. For some, especially women who had struggled with pregnancies of their own, it was deeply offensive to watch someone simulate that journey so publicly. But Meghan's actions raise a larger societal question. Do we pressure women, especially famous women, to perform motherhood in a specific way? And if someone can't fulfill those expectations biologically, do we offer them space to redefine what motherhood looks like? Or do we demand they meet the image we've crafted for them? The answer, unfortunately, seems clear in the public's reaction. Her performance of pregnancy wasn't just a personal act. It was a calculated, visible, ongoing role. Meghan attended public events, engaged with charities focused on maternal health, and gave interviews during her pregnancy period. At the time, most viewers were unaware that the baby bump wasn't real, that behind the poised smiles and regal gowns, she was maintaining a secret known only to a few. In a 2021 televised interview with Oprah Winfrey, Meghan spoke emotionally about motherhood and the pressure to protect her children. That segment, now viewed in hindsight, takes on a different tone. Her emotional delivery may still be genuine, but now viewers question how much of the scene was guided by reality versus carefully maintained narrative. As one critic posted on X, formerly Twitter, if she could fake a pregnancy, what else could she fabricate? Yet others pushed back, arguing that deception doesn't automatically equate to malevolence. "We let actors play pregnant all the time," one supporter wrote. "Why is it betrayal when a woman does it off-screen, especially if she had no other choice?" This debate is now central to Meghan's legacy. Did she manipulate the public for sympathy or admiration? Or did she do what she thought was necessary to maintain control of her story in a world that never truly gave her one? The anatomy of a fake bump isn't just silicone and straps. It's also emotional strain, mental rehearsal, and a tightly controlled performance. And for Meghan Markle, it appears that maintaining the illusion was both her shield and her undoing. As the public continues to unravel the layers of her confession, the next logical step is to examine the platform where this video debuted, Instagram. The very tool Meghan used to share her joyful dance, and the same tool that turned the spotlight so fiercely against her. But before we dive into her digital strategy, one truth remains painfully evident. Sometimes the most elaborate illusions are born not from manipulation, but from the desperate desire to belong. As the backlash over Meghan Markle's pregnancy video intensified, many observers turned their attention away from the prosthetic belly itself and toward the platform that carried the confession into the world, Instagram. A place known for filters, curated images, and the performance of life, Instagram has long been used by celebrities and influencers alike to shape narratives and generate engagement. But in Meghan's case, it became the very stage on which illusion unraveled into exposure. The video in question was not uploaded through her personal account, because, officially, she no longer has one. Since leaving the senior ranks of the royal family in early 2020, Meghan and Prince Harry have moved away from traditional royal communication and embraced more modern platforms under the banner of philanthropy and lifestyle branding. The video emerged on an Instagram account affiliated with a foundation they support, with no captions or context. It simply appeared, suddenly and quietly, just before midnight in Los Angeles. The timing was curious. The post dropped during a lull in celebrity news cycles, between larger media events, almost as if calculated to maximize attention without competition. Within an hour, the video had already been reshared by several fan pages, then rapidly picked up by gossip bloggers and royal watchers with huge followings. By morning in the UK, it had already exploded across the internet. But what motivated Meghan to post such an intimate and risky video in the first place? And more importantly, why now? Several PR analysts and digital strategists have weighed in on the decision. According to Marlene Kessler, a former image consultant to several high-profile celebrities, the timing and content suggest a deliberate move. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't an old video that got posted without permission. This was a well-timed drop, meant to do something. Whether that something was control the narrative, distract from another story, or invite public sympathy, we can't know for sure. But the precision of the drop tells me it was strategic. That raises another question: strategic to what end? Over the past year, Meghan and Harry have faced increasing criticism. Their streaming deals with Spotify and Netflix have seen setbacks. Their public favorability in the United Kingdom has plummeted. And their efforts to rebrand themselves as philanthropists and content creators in America have had mixed success. Some insiders believe the video was an attempt to reconnect with the public through a shared human experience, motherhood, humor, spontaneity. But instead, it opened the door to questions long buried. From a digital perspective, Meghan has always maintained an air of careful control. Even when she was part of the royal institution, her social media presence was tightly managed. After stepping away from royal duties, she briefly used the now-defunct Sussex Royal Instagram account to communicate with the public. That account, which had amassed millions of followers, was later shut down when their official ties to the monarchy were severed. Since then, Meghan has operated largely through joint ventures and third-party accounts. The video's appearance on a foundation's Instagram page gave her plausible deniability while still allowing the content to reach the public. It wasn't Meghan Markle posting directly, it was the cause. But the message was unmistakably hers. Digital sleuths quickly noticed a pattern in the account's posting behavior. Prior to the pregnancy video, the foundation's Instagram feed had gone quiet for weeks. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, the account posted a string of polished, well-lit behind-the-scenes photos of Meghan involved in charitable events. 2 days later, the dancing video appeared. And 12 hours after that, it was deleted. Such a posting schedule suggests a planned campaign, possibly intended to test the waters of public sentiment. But the swift deletion, after the backlash began, suggests they underestimated the reaction. Or worse, miscalculated it entirely. Social media experts point out that viral content is rarely predictable. The video may have been intended to be cute or endearing, but once public attention fixated on the way Meghan cradled her stomach or how the bump didn't sway naturally, the conversation spiraled into territory the Sussexes likely hadn't anticipated. And yet, many find it hard to believe they didn't expect controversy. After years of tabloid coverage and critical YouTube channels dissecting every inch of her wardrobe, mannerisms, and facial expressions, it's difficult to imagine Meghan posting such a video without knowing it would be watched and rewatched 1,000 times. Which brings up an even more complex possibility. Was the outrage part of the plan? Some strategists argue that negative attention is still attention. In today's media landscape, any moment of virality can be repackaged into an opportunity. Perhaps Meghan and her team anticipated that the video would provoke speculation. Perhaps they wanted the video to trigger public debate as a precursor to her eventual confession. In that light, the clip wasn't just content, it was bait. If this was a calculated campaign to normalize the narrative around surrogacy or fake pregnancy for privacy, said media analyst Joanne Tyler, then the backlash may have been a necessary evil. It got the conversation going. And Meghan used the chaos to introduce her truth on her terms. This strategy is precedent. Many public figures have faced backlash before using it to reset their image. What sets Meghan's case apart is the subject matter. Pregnancy is deeply personal. Faking it touches on themes of authenticity, motherhood, and emotional integrity. In a world still shaped by rigid expectations of femininity, that's a volatile powder keg. Some critics believe Meghan used Instagram not to share joy, but to manipulate perception. Others believe she was reclaiming her voice. But either way, the video's launch wasn't random. It was a calculated digital maneuver with high emotional stakes, and the gamble cost her dearly in the court of public opinion. The question now is whether she can recover. Can a figure as polarizing as Meghan Markle rebuild trust after voluntarily revealing such an intimate deception? And will the public grant her the space to explain herself beyond a brief statement? What the Instagram video has made clear is that in the world Meghan now inhabits, every post is a press release, every image a statement. Authenticity is currency, and illusion, once discovered, carries a price. As we move into the next chapter, we'll shift from Meghan's social media strategy to the man who may have known the truth long before the public did, her ex-husband, Trevor Engelson. When Meghan Markle's stunning confession about her fake pregnancy hit the headlines, one name quickly resurfaced in the swirling conversation: Trevor Engelson. For those less familiar, Engelson is Meghan's ex-husband, the man she married in 2011 before their marriage ended in divorce in 2013. While their relationship had been largely out of the public eye for years, the recent revelations thrust him back into the spotlight, as whispers emerged suggesting he might hold critical pieces of the puzzle about Meghan's fertility struggles and her reasons for faking a pregnancy. The connection between Meghan and Trevor is often overshadowed by the global spotlight on her royal life with Prince Harry. Yet, understanding their relationship is vital to unpacking the layers beneath Meghan's public narrative. To many, Trevor Engelson is known primarily as a successful Hollywood film and television producer. His projects include notable works such as Remember Me and the popular TV series Snowfall. Beyond his professional achievements, he was also Meghan's partner during formative years that shaped her personal and professional trajectory. Sources close to the former couple suggest that Meghan confided deeply in Trevor about her private struggles, far more than she ever publicly disclosed. Rumors have circulated that during their marriage, Meghan faced medical challenges related to her reproductive health. Some insiders allege that she was diagnosed with a condition that made natural pregnancy impossible, potentially requiring a hysterectomy or other medical interventions. Although Trevor has never publicly confirmed such claims, a report leaked from an unnamed source stated that Engelson once said, "She told me herself she could never carry a child." This quote has been seized by tabloids and social media users alike as alleged proof supporting Meghan's recent admissions. But why would Trevor share such sensitive information? And why now? Speculation about Trevor's motivations varies widely. Some suggest he may be seeking to control the narrative in the wake of Meghan's public confession, attempting to position himself as a bearer of truth. Others propose he might be capitalizing on the attention to revive his own career or regain media relevance. One Hollywood insider offered a different perspective. Trevor and Meghan had a complicated relationship, they explained. They were once close but separated with tension. Still, it's possible Trevor felt some responsibility to clarify misinformation, especially if the rumors surrounding Meghan's pregnancies were causing harm or confusion. Trevor's role in this story extends beyond mere gossip. His alleged knowledge of Meghan's medical history casts new light on her decision to simulate pregnancy and the secrecy surrounding her children's births. If true, it suggests Meghan's earlier silence was not a choice made lightly, but a shield against public scrutiny, stigma, and perhaps royal pressures. When Meghan married Prince Harry in 2018, she entered a world of relentless media intrusion and suffocating expectations. The royal family's traditional views on privacy and lineage contrast sharply with modern celebrity culture's demand for transparency and constant visibility. Navigating this duality may have compelled Meghan to maintain a facade, especially concerning matters as sensitive as fertility. In this context, Trevor's alleged revelations, whether intentional or accidental, carry weight. They hint at a hidden backstory of pain, fear, and difficult choices. More importantly, they provide a potential explanation for why Meghan felt the need to craft a convincing but ultimately fabricated pregnancy narrative. Legal experts have also weighed in on the possible implications. If Trevor possesses any verifiable medical records or personal correspondence that confirm Meghan's inability to carry a child, those documents could significantly influence public opinion and even royal protocol discussions. For instance, questions about the legitimacy of succession claims or royal titles tied to biological lineage may arise. Yet, Trevor remains largely silent publicly. Unlike Meghan's direct confession, he has not issued a formal statement addressing these claims. This silence leaves the door open to speculation but denies the media a definitive answer. Meanwhile, the media frenzy surrounding Trevor's connection to Meghan's pregnancy saga has reignited debates about privacy and the ethics of revealing personal medical information. Critics argue that both Meghan and Trevor deserve respect and discretion concerning such intimate matters. Supporters maintain that transparency is necessary to dismantle false narratives and ensure truth prevails. Furthermore, Trevor's involvement complicates the narrative of Meghan's motherhood. If she could not carry a child, were Archie and Lilibet born through surrogacy or other reproductive technologies? Were these choices made with full consent from the royal family? And why was the public kept in the dark? These are questions that continue to fuel discussion across royal commentary circles, online forums, and news desks. Trevor Engelson's role in this story is emblematic of the complex intersections between personal history, public image, and the relentless spotlight of fame. His alleged knowledge underscores the human side of Meghan's experience, the challenges, secrets, and decisions made away from cameras and headlines. As we proceed, the next chapter will explore the deeper implications of Meghan's confession, not just as a public figure's scandal, but as a woman confronting the intersection of personal pain and royal expectation. Meghan Markle's admission that she was not actually pregnant but wore a prosthetic belly and rehearsed the physicality of pregnancy has sent shockwaves far beyond the typical tabloid fodder. It's a revelation that touches on themes much deeper than scandal, the blurred lines between deception and survival, public image and private pain, and the crushing weight of expectation placed on one woman by an institution as old and rigid as the British monarchy. At the heart of this chapter lies a fundamental question. Was Meghan's deception a calculated act of manipulation designed to fool the world, or a deeply human response to impossible circumstances? To approach this, one must first appreciate the unique pressures Meghan faced as a royal bride entering an institution steeped in centuries of tradition, protocol, and intense media scrutiny. Unlike most women, whose pregnancies unfold away from glaring public eyes, Meghan's every move, from the moment of engagement to her announcement of pregnancy, was subject to relentless analysis. Every smile, every outfit choice, even every shift in posture became headline news. For many women, pregnancy is a private, transformative journey marked by vulnerability and anticipation. For Meghan, it became a performance with global spectators. The expectation was not only to conceive and deliver children, but to do so with grace befitting a future queen consort. This context helps explain, though not excuse, why Meghan might have felt compelled to fabricate aspects of that journey. In interviews following her confession, she remarked, "I felt like I was acting in a role I never auditioned for." These words reveal a profound sense of displacement, being forced into a script written by others, performing a version of motherhood she couldn't fully claim. Some psychologists specializing in the experiences of women under extreme public pressure have offered insights into Meghan's possible mindset. Dr. Helen Carter, a clinical psychologist who studies identity stress in high-profile individuals, notes, when people feel trapped in roles imposed by external forces, they may resort to constructing alternative realities to cope. Wearing a fake pregnancy bump could be seen as an extreme form of dissociation, a way to protect oneself emotionally. Others point to the culture of silence and image control within the royal family. For decades, mental health struggles, fertility challenges, and personal difficulties were kept behind closed doors, never acknowledged publicly. Meghan, aware of this environment, may have felt that acknowledging her true situation would lead to rejection, judgment, or worse. The royal institution itself has a complicated history with the personal lives of its members. From Princess Diana's candid struggles with bulimia and depression to Prince Harry's recent mental health openness, there is a pattern of personal pain hidden beneath polished public facades. Meghan's confession could be viewed as a continuation of this trajectory, shifting from secrecy to a reluctant revelation forced by circumstance. Yet, critics argue that deception on this scale damages public trust. To many, pretending to be pregnant crosses a line beyond the bounds of understandable self-protection. It's seen as an affront to the very people who supported her, and to women everywhere who endure the physical and emotional challenges of pregnancy without the option of hiding behind illusion. Royal loyalists express particular outrage, viewing Meghan's admission as a betrayal of the monarchy's dignity. The royal family represents honesty, tradition, and continuity, one commentator wrote. Faking such a sacred moment undermines those values and disrespects the institution. Supporters, however, counter that the monarchy itself imposes unrealistic standards that have historically suffocated individuality and truth. They argue Meghan's choice was an act of survival, a way to maintain control in a world determined to define her by others. Public opinion polls conducted shortly after Meghan's statement revealed a sharp divide. Some viewers expressed sympathy and understanding. Others felt deceived and skeptical. This polarization reflects broader societal tensions around celebrity, authenticity, and gender roles. Amid this debate, the question of whether Meghan's experience was a form of deception or a manifestation of private pain remains central. Perhaps it was both. A complex intertwining of personal struggle and public performance. Further complicating matters is the question of Prince Harry's role. From interviews and reports, Harry appears to have been supportive of Meghan throughout her journey, but it is unclear whether he was fully aware of the extent of her deception or the reasons behind it. Palace insiders have been silent on this issue, leaving much to speculation. Did the royal family know? Were they complicit? Or was this another secret kept tightly locked behind palace doors? Regardless, Meghan's confession forces a reconsideration of how we view public figures who live dual lives, one shaped by public expectation and one defined by private realities. As this story unfolds, it invites broader conversations about mental health, infertility, societal pressures on women, and the cost of living under unrelenting scrutiny. Ultimately, whether viewed as deception or a cry for help, Meghan's admission marks a watershed moment in royal history, one that challenges long-held notions about authenticity and vulnerability in the public eye. Next, we will examine the history of rumors and inconsistencies that surrounded Meghan's pregnancies, revealing how long this narrative may have been quietly building. Long before Meghan Markle's public confession that she had faked her pregnancy with a prosthetic belly, whispers and rumors about the authenticity of her pregnancies had begun to circulate in certain royal and media circles. These rumors, often dismissed as baseless or malicious at the time, have now taken on a new weight, inviting us to revisit the timeline of speculation, inconsistencies, and unanswered questions that paved the way for today's revelations. Meghan's first pregnancy, with her son Archie Harrison, was announced in October 2018. From the outset, royal watchers and social media sleuths closely monitored every public appearance, scrutinizing photos and videos for signs of a genuine pregnancy. Yet, even then, subtle anomalies caught the attention of online communities. For instance, in some images, Meghan's belly appeared unusually small or oddly shaped for the stage of pregnancy she was reportedly in. These observations sparked heated debates. Was the bump simply small due to Meghan's slender frame? Could different outfits or camera angles explain the discrepancies? Some experts explained that pregnancies vary widely, and bump size alone was an unreliable indicator. But for the persistent few, these anomalies hinted at a larger secret. The birth of Archie in May 2019 offered little clarity. Official details were scarce. The royal family announced the birth with typical brevity, and photos released afterward showed a healthy infant cradled by Meghan and Harry. However, some conspiracy theorists claimed the baby was born via surrogacy or even adopted, pointing to the relative rarity of publicly visible pregnancy symptoms during Meghan's term. When Meghan announced her second pregnancy in February 2021, the scrutiny intensified. This time, many observers noted even more apparent inconsistencies in her physical appearance during the pregnancy timeline. Photos from events and casual outings showed a belly that seemed to fluctuate dramatically in size, leading to speculation about whether a prosthetic bump was being used more deliberately. One particularly discussed event was Meghan's appearance at a charity gala where she wore a form-fitting white dress. Critics pointed out that the belly appeared unnaturally shaped and stiff, almost as if it were a fixed accessory rather than a natural part of her body. Another incident involved Meghan bending down to interact with children, a move many argued was unlikely given the supposed stage of her pregnancy. These irregularities fueled fresh rumors that Meghan's second child, Lilibet Diana, may have been born through surrogacy, possibly even outside the United Kingdom, where royal protocols are stringent. Some royal commentators noted the lack of official photographic evidence from the hospital or delivery room, a stark contrast to previous royal births which were often well documented for public reassurance. The idea of surrogacy, though controversial within the royal context, has gained some public acceptance in recent years. However, the British monarchy has not historically confirmed or embraced surrogacy for heirs. Thus, any deviation from traditional birth announcements invites speculation and, frequently, scandal. More enigmatic was the scarcity of direct statements or interviews addressing Meghan's pregnancies beyond scripted media appearances. Unlike many public figures who openly share their experiences, Meghan maintained a guarded silence, sparking questions about what was being concealed. In parallel, Meghan and Harry's relocation to the United States and their subsequent distancing from royal duties removed them from the usual British media channels that might have provided more transparency. This physical and communicative separation left a vacuum filled by speculation. It is also important to consider the pressures Meghan faced as a biracial American woman entering the British royal family, a notoriously traditional institution. Reports suggest that Meghan endured systemic racism, isolation, and intense scrutiny. In such an environment, concealing fertility struggles or opting for surrogacy might have seemed the safest path. Adding to the intrigue are unverified reports claiming that Meghan faced medical complications that made pregnancy impossible or highly risky. While these claims have not been independently verified, they offer potential explanations for the choices she made. The public's appetite for royal drama and conspiracy, fueled by social media platforms and online communities, transformed these suspicions into viral narratives. The line between fact and fiction blurred, with truth often obscured by sensationalism. Meghan's recent confession, acknowledging the use of a prosthetic bump and rehearsing pregnancy behaviors, provides a measure of validation to these long-standing rumors. It confirms that the narrative was more complex and layered than the polished public facade suggested. The implications are profound. Not only do they challenge traditional understandings of royal motherhood and lineage, but they also force us to consider the emotional and psychological realities behind the glamour and protocol. In the next chapter, we will explore how the royal family reacted behind closed doors to these rumors in the eventual confession, revealing the delicate balance between maintaining tradition and adapting to unprecedented revelations. The British royal family is renowned for its discretion and carefully managed public image. The institution, steeped in centuries of tradition and ceremony, has long maintained a strict code of silence on internal matters, especially those involving personal and family issues. In the wake of Meghan Markle's astonishing admission about faking her pregnancy, speculation has swirled not just in public but also behind the palace's closed doors. How did the royal family react to a revelation that threatened to upend one of the most cherished narratives of the modern monarchy? Though the royal household has refrained from issuing any official statement on Meghan's confession, multiple sources with varying degrees of proximity to the family have provided hints about the atmosphere within Buckingham Palace and other royal residences. Several palace insiders described the mood as a mix of shock, disappointment, and a deep sense of betrayal. Feelings intensified by the highly public nature of the disclosure. One anonymous source, identified as a former aide who worked closely with senior royals, remarked, "The family values truth and tradition above all else." For a member of the extended family to admit to such a significant deception is incredibly destabilizing. It calls into question not just personal integrity but the image of the monarchy itself. The palace's primary concern, as always, is the preservation of the monarchy's reputation. In past decades, scandals involving personal misconduct or controversy have been carefully managed through quiet negotiations, limited press releases, and strategic engagements designed to steer public attention elsewhere. However, Meghan's confession represents a new kind of challenge, one that touches on the fundamental question of lineage and legitimacy. Royal protocols concerning succession, titles, and lineage are closely guarded and historically based on biological descent. Meghan's admission raises thorny legal and ceremonial questions about the status of her children, Archie and Lilibet. How does the palace reconcile these revelations with the line of succession? Are Archie and Lilibet officially recognized as heirs to the throne? Has the family considered revisiting official birth records or titles in light of this? While no official answers have been forthcoming, whispers within palace circles suggest intense internal discussions have taken place. Some family members reportedly view the situation as a private matter that should be resolved quietly, without public spectacle. Others believe a firmer stance is necessary to protect the institution's integrity. The role of Prince Charles, now King Charles III, in responding to this crisis is particularly scrutinized. Known for his traditional views on monarchy and duty, Charles is said to have expressed personal disappointment in Meghan but also concern for Harry, who has remained largely silent on the issue. Whether Charles will take public action or delegate responses to palace officials remains uncertain. Princess and the Queen's daughter and a figure renowned for her forthrightness, is rumored to have privately voiced frustration over the entire saga. Her reputation as a no-nonsense royal who values duty and service above all else makes her stance particularly influential behind the scenes. Meanwhile, Prince William's reaction is of great interest to royal observers. Known for his protective stance over the institution and his role as heir apparent, William's relationship with his brother Harry and sister-in-law Meghan has been strained for years. Sources suggest that William's response to Meghan's confession has been one of profound disappointment, further complicating already tense family dynamics. This confession has also reportedly reignited old wounds related to the Sussexes' departure from royal duties in 2020. Many within the family see Meghan's actions as a breach of trust that reinforces concerns about the couple's intentions and commitment to royal values. At the same time, there is a sense of sympathy among some family members who recognize the intense pressures Meghan has endured. The royal family is no stranger to personal challenges made public, from Princess Diana's struggles to Prince Andrew's controversies. This recognition, however, does not necessarily translate into public support or forgiveness. Beyond the immediate family, palace staff and courtiers are described as being caught in an awkward position, tasked with managing the fallout while maintaining loyalty to both tradition and the individuals involved. The balance between personal compassion and institutional duty has never been more delicate. The media's role in amplifying the scandal is also a point of concern within royal circles. The family has long maintained a complicated relationship with the press, alternating between cooperation and criticism. Meghan's confession and the viral video have unleashed a torrent of global coverage, much of it sensational and speculative, further complicating the palace's ability to control the narrative. Despite the turmoil, the royal family is expected to adhere to a policy of silence publicly, at least for now. Statements, when they come, are likely to be carefully crafted to maintain dignity and focus on unity. In private, however, the confession has catalyzed a reckoning. Discussions about modernizing royal communication, addressing mental health openly, and managing personal disclosures with more transparency have reportedly gained momentum. The confession has also intensified debate about the monarchy's relevance in the 21st century and its capacity to adapt to changing societal expectations. Meghan's story, in many ways, is a reflection of the institution's struggle to balance ancient tradition with contemporary realities. As this chapter of royal history unfolds, it becomes clear that the impact of Meghan's revelation extends beyond the immediate family. It challenges the very foundation of royal image-making, secrecy, and control. Next, we will explore the wave of public outrage and the emotional fallout experienced by both Meghan and the wider community. Meghan Markle's confession that her pregnancy was faked by using a prosthetic bump and practice poses didn't just shake royal circles. It ignited a storm of public outrage and intense emotional responses across the globe. The news permeated social media timelines, television talk shows, and dinner table conversations, polarizing opinions and stirring raw feelings that reveal as much about society as they do about Meghan herself. From the outset, the backlash was fierce. For many, the admission was perceived as a betrayal, not just of fans or the public but of the universal experience of pregnancy and motherhood. Women who had endured the physical, emotional, and psychological challenges of pregnancy felt wounded by the revelation. To them, Meghan's act was more than deception. It was an appropriation of a sacred journey that millions face without choice or ease. On social media platforms like Twitter, X, and Instagram, hashtags such as #FakePregnancy and #DeceitfulMom trended rapidly. Emotional testimonies poured in from women sharing their struggles with infertility, miscarriages, and pregnancy loss. Many accused Meghan of trivializing their pain by pretending to carry a child. One viral tweet read, "I battled infertility for years. Watching someone fake pregnancy for attention is the ultimate slap in the face." Another user posted, "Pregnancy is not a costume to wear when convenient. It's a life-changing experience I wish I could have had." These sentiments echoed across countless posts. illustrating how Meghan's confession touched nerves beyond mere celebrity gossip. Yet, this wave of outrage was not unanimous. Amid the criticism emerged a strong current of empathy and support. Mental health advocates, fertility specialists, and compassionate observers urged the public to consider the complex emotional and psychological factors that might lead someone to such a choice. Infertility carries profound grief, explained Dr. Lila Morrison, a reproductive psychologist. For women under immense pressure, especially those in the public eye, the desire to simulate pregnancy may stem from a need to protect themselves from stigma, shame, or invasive questioning. Supporters pointed out that Meghan's decision, though controversial, highlighted the broader issue of how society views motherhood and the often unspoken struggles women face. Some argued that her confession opened a vital conversation about mental health, societal expectations, and the right to privacy. Online communities formed in response. Forums where women share stories about fertility struggles became spaces for mixed reactions, some condemning the deception, others sharing understanding and compassion. The conversation was raw, messy, and deeply human. Celebrities and public figures weighed in as well. Some voiced support for Meghan, emphasizing the importance of compassion and mental health awareness. Others criticized her, arguing that public figures have a responsibility to be truthful with their audiences. The media's portrayal of the confession was similarly divided. Tabloid headlines screamed betrayal and scandal, while more nuanced outlets explored the emotional complexity behind the act. Opinion pieces ranged from scathing condemnations to empathetic analyses. For Meghan herself, the public reaction was undoubtedly overwhelming. Those close to her describe her as deeply affected by the wave of criticism, yet determined to stand by her truth. She reportedly received a flood of supportive messages privately, including from women who had faced similar challenges in silence. The emotional fallout extended beyond Meghan. Prince Harry, though remaining largely silent publicly, was reportedly devastated by the renewed media scrutiny and family tensions. Sources close to the couple suggest that the confession reignited feelings of isolation and disillusionment with the royal institution. The children at the center of the revelation, Archie and Lilibet, became unintended focal points of public debate. Questions about their legitimacy and status sparked uncomfortable discussions, some of which were publicly aired on social media and commentary platforms. This invasion of privacy caused concern among child welfare advocates and royal aides alike. Public opinion polls taken in the aftermath reflected the divided sentiment. While some segments of the population expressed disappointment and mistrust, others showed increased sympathy for Meghan's situation and the pressures she faced. The broader societal implications of the backlash are significant. Meghan's confession has challenged long-held assumptions about motherhood, honesty, and the right to privacy for public figures. It has forced a reckoning with the intense scrutiny women endure and the complex ways they navigate personal pain in public spaces. As the emotional dust begins to settle, the question remains, can the public forgive and move beyond the deception? Or will this chapter leave a lasting scar on Meghan's reputation and on royal history? The next section will examine the profound implications of these revelations on Meghan's children and their place within the royal family.